7-4. Rochelle's off on a break. I'm Michelle Laurie, but I would love to hear from you as well. If you want to jump in on this story, you know, there are so many different perspectives. I mean, one of the reasons that veganism is spoken about a lot these days is the idea that the continuation of the farming practices that we're living on, we have lived on for such a long time, is just not sustainable in terms of the ecology of our planet. That the way we graze cattle and the amount of meat that we're eating is really wreaking havoc with our planet. But Chris Balazs is the CEO of Provenir. Is that how I say that? Australia's first on-farm mobile abattoir. Is that how I say it, Chris?
That's correct.
Now, you believe that you have developed sustainable and ethical farming practices that mean that we can keep eating meat, if that's our go, without wrecking the planet.
Yeah, so Provenir is going to bring to Australia the first on-farm processing unit, which we refer to as high welfare meat. And we see that this is a great step forward for animal welfare in the system, providing also amazing quality meat as well. And there's definitely an increased awareness about farming production systems. I'm a farmer myself and have been for the last 17 years. And as farmers, we have a responsibility to the land. And by, my view is that by adopting regenerative farming practices, we can arrest some of the ecological damage that has been done by farming in the past and can be part of the climate change solution.
Chris, as we just heard there when we were listening to some people who called in this morning, thanks to the internet and social media, we are so much more aware now, though, of other issues when it comes to the realities of farming. I mean, what do you do with male chicks, for example, who are useless to you when it comes to providing eggs in a farming context? What do you do with male calves who are useless to you in a farming context in a lot of ways? What do we do about those things?
I guess I can only talk from my perspective, and I am a beef producer. So for myself, I care passionately about the cattle that I raise, and I know with my connections to other beef farmers as well, that they genuinely care and love the stock that they produce. Many now are focusing on how they can manage the land better, and there's been a significant change in government funding towards supporting farmers to manage their land better.
But what do you do with the bulls that are born?
We consume them.
Oh, okay. In the same way, yeah. Okay.
In the same way. So each production system does have its challenges from there. And entirely, if we all completely adopted a plant-based diet as well, that would create other ecological challenges as well.
Yeah.
So what we advocate is that as we know better, we do better. And that's where Provenir is very much focused on providing that solution for those vital last few days of the animal's life, that we don't have to put them on the back of a truck. We don't have to expose them to that stress, that we're able to do the processing on farm in the best way possible for those that choose to eat meat.
As a kid, I used to love seeing that. I grew up in the country, and I used to love it when we'd see a truckload of cows going past, because as a kid you don't understand, A, where they're going, or B, how stressful that journey is for so many reasons. But now, yes, I find it pang in my heart and in my soul when I see them travelling. So that's one of the reasons why having a mobile abattoir is more ethical, is it, than the way we do it now?
When it comes to making a statement about ethics, I think that's every person's own choice, and they have their own ethical barometer. But for myself and for the team at Provenir, we're very passionate about that and think that that is a step forward. And I can tell you it is no simple feat to create a unit that meets all the regulatory requirements for producing meat for human consumption in a mobile unit, and it's taken many years for us to develop this. But it is that, I guess, ethical barometer that we have that has driven us to do that.
We're talking to Chris Balazs, who's the CEO of Provenir, Australia's first on-farm mobile abattoir. So, Chris, you are a producer of meat, but I guess you're trying to find ways that you feel are more ethical in terms of farming and slaughtering meat, so that you can live with it. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. So my personal journey as a farmer started 17 years ago. I'm a first generation farmer, so you can put hashtag novice against that.
Yeah.
But over that journey, I've learned a lot about farming, and I've also pursued a integrated pathway where have a butchery on farm and sell directly to consumers. And having spent many years at farmers markets communicating directly with consumers, I understand that there is a very large section of the population that are very interested in how their food is produced, and this is a rising sector in the market.
Do you think it's because we see these videos like the one we're talking about today, Dominion, that our next guest directed, Chris Delforce, that show us in no uncertain terms how the meat we buy in the supermarket gets there, the way that these animals are farmed, the way they're slaughtered? Is that why we are more interested now, and that there's a guilt attached to eating meat now?
Look, I think that's it. I think that film, as a specific film, shows probably the extreme end of the animal processing, and probably is showing a polarised view to get a certain reaction. Mm-hmm. Having worked in the processing industry, I know that there is a broad spectrum, and I know that there is also a very strong desire to continually improve the animal welfare outcomes from not only the farming perspective, but from the animal welfare perspective going through that process. So we strongly believe that it's every person's choice as to what they put in their mouth. But we also believe that we have a role as Provenir to lead the way in showing that on-farm processing can be done and is economically viable and is a great step forward in animal welfare.
Well, absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris Balazs, CEO of Provenir. And certainly it's everyone's choice still in this country so far to protest.